jump right in. So our first extract today is our grapefruit vanilla extract. It's on page 114 of The Art of Extract Making. It's another fresh fruit extract, but kind of with a twist. We did some fun things with this one. So let's dive in and make some grapefruit extract.
I absolutely love this time of year with all of the citrus. I grew up in Southern California, and we had so much citrus available at this time of year. So the smell of citrus makes me think of my childhood, and it also makes me think of Christmas.
It's Christmas. So I grew up in Arizona, and on the side of our house, we had navel oranges, we had a lemon tree, and we had a ruby red grapefruit tree. And the exact same thing. This is a ruby red. Every year, Christmas time, you'd go out and you'd wait, you'd get them in the morning or in the evening when it was a little cooler, and you'd grab one of those and you'd cut it the right way so you had the triangles, and then you'd sprinkle, we would always sprinkle sugar on it. I know a lot of people do salt, and we love just sprinkling a little. We were so unhealthy in the 80s. Just white sugar, just right on it, and then we'd eat those little triangles, and it was like the best breakfast that I'd washed down with like Hostess cupcakes. Life was good. No, I'm teasing. You want to see your face. I'm not teasing. Life was good. Those were the good old days. Now I digress. Can we do a Hostess cupcake extract?
No.
Okay.
No, we cannot.
Maybe not. So grapefruits, fresh grapefruits. Here we go.
Grapefruit. Okay, so this is a very large grapefruit, just one. It's a ruby red. We always want to start with our vanilla. There's really only 2 ingredients to this. And, some people don't like grapefruit. It is something that you either do or you don't like. And so, this might be something that you're interested in, maybe not. Grapefruit is, not for everyone.
Yep.
I love it. So we're going to start with our vanilla beans. These are Tanzanian beans. Both of our new extracts today are made with Tanzanian beans.
Yes.
And
that's kind of the theme today for some reason. That we did not set that up. It's just a coincidence.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got an entire ounce of Tanzanian beans. And I'm going to just tie some of them because I do want to keep some of that caviar for later. And then I'm going to cut some, just like we always do, to get some of the vanilla seeds in the extract. I always start with the vanilla on the bottom because sometimes things float, and vanilla is the part that takes the longest to extract. And so I want that on the bottom to make sure that it's submerged in the alcohol. So I'm just going to slice these down the middle. Sometimes I just cut them. It just depends on the bean. If it's a really fat bean, sometimes I don't because you turn the water on.
I'm turning the water on. So we didn't say this at the beginning because it's such a full show, but we want to welcome, if there's any new members here, we've got some new people that'll jump over from Eventbrite. Hello to all of our Club Be Pure members. And I always explain this, the first extract we do in every show, we always go through the slicing, the dicing, the cutting, because it is the number one question when people start any extract. What do I do with my beans? How do I prepare them? What are the pros and cons? So we realize those of you that have been with every show, it's like, here we go again. We're talking about slicing and dicing. For us, we'll be talking about slicing and dicing and cutting vanilla beans for the rest of our lives because it's really, really, really important. People all want to know, right?
In the beginning, that's one of the most common questions is, do I cut them? What do I do with them? And so we just always cover it depending on, we never know who's listening, if you're a beginner or an expert. So we just cover it.
Exactly. Yep.
So, okay. So I've got my 1 ounce of Tanzanian beans in the bottom of, this is just a quart canning jar. I like using them because I have a lot of them. And so they're at my disposal. I just have so many that they're easy to use. And I'm going to need the space to get this entire grapefruit in here. Now I cut them, I sliced them and then I cut them into smaller pieces only because I need it to fit in the jar. And this is going to fill it up pretty quickly. I'm probably going to have to push down some when I get to the top here. We're going to, because this is fresh fruit, we are going to be adding Everclear, actually 190 proof, because
Actually, let me clarify this because I think I had a typo here when we were writing it. This is again the 150 proof, and the reason is we're adding just the one grapefruit, and the next two change outs we're not going to be using a whole grapefruit. We're going to be using the peel.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep,
That's
yep.
right. So 150.
Exactly. So we're going to use, and fortunately in Utah, that's an okay thing because they passed the law and we can no longer get the 190 proof Everclear and the high proof rums here.
That just happened.
That just happened.
Yes.
So we can only get like the 150 proof Everclear, and we still don't have access to rum. So that's one of the audibles that we've had to call in some of our extract making recipes. So we're using a 150 proof here, and the recipe calls for 150 to 170. That's sufficient for the moisture content in the size of a single fresh grapefruit, like we're doing, that it'll be diluted, and it'll get us down into that 35% to 50% alcohol range. For the new folks that are watching, and this is your very first extract, the sweet spot for extract making is 35 to 50% ABV alcohol percentage, which is 70 to 100 proof. So when you're using fresh fruit, you have to take the moisture content of the fruit into consideration and know that that moisture, which is like adding water, is going to dilute the alcohol content. So in this case, we're using a high proof, 150 proof Everclear because we know that we're going to dilute it with the one grapefruit. That'll get us down into that 35 to 50% range, right?
Yes, and how great is it that if we're going to dilute it with water, it's juice. So
Yes.
You're adding a little bit of natural flavoring, natural sugar.
Yes.
So it does change it a little
That's
bit.
why we like adding the real fruit juice to the high proof spirit because one, you get an immediate taste, which is really nice, and it's a natural way to add a sweetener that there's nothing artificial about it.
And you need because you have to dilute it.
You have to dilute it,
yes.
So might as well dilute it with grapefruit juice.
You might as well.
Someone would say if I just wanted to use like the pithless peels and like a vodka, could I do that? And the answer is yes, you can. So our whole point, and we say this all the time with our book, is we're trying to show you different principles of extract making, and then you guys run with them. You can make all sorts. Once you understand how it works, you can explore all new flavors and new tastes in your kitchen. And this is one of those examples. So if you don't have the high proof stuff and you don't want to use fresh, you could use the peels and just use vodka, which is 40% alcohol, and go through 3 cycles of peels until you get that taste that you want, and you'll extract that essential oil out of the peel, and you'll get grapefruit extract or orange extract or whatever citrus you're using, and it'll taste great, right?
Yes. I do want to mention that before you washing your citrus, you get them from the store. They've got all kinds of gunk on the outside. You want to make sure. How I do it is I just pour some boiling water over the top of the oranges or the grapefruit, whatever you're doing, and then I use this brush and I just kind of scrub it all around, and you can actually smell the orange peel, like the oils coming out as you're scrubbing it. The scent and the fragrance just starts to come out, and so you want to make sure you clean them. But it's kind of fun to see that happen when you're scrubbing, that all of that, the oils coming from the skin or the peel is going to be in your extract.
Yeah, and it's lovely. It's wonderful. And again, the other question we get asked is, people know that when you're extracting with just the peels, you don't want to include any pith. But then they say, well, wait, you're putting the pith in with the grapefruit or the orange in the first round. Isn't that going to make it more bitter? In our experience, it doesn't when you're adding all that fresh fruit juice. And so it counters, it's fine. We don't get the bitterness. It hasn't been a problem. But when we use just peels, if the peels themselves have the pith still included and we're using the lower proof vodka, sometimes you can get a little bit of that bitterness. But in this method, that hasn't been our experience at all. It's been spectacular.
The difference is the juice.
We think the difference is the juice. Yep.
Okay, we're adding 8 ounces of 150 proof. And it takes a little bit of time. You can see that there are little air bubbles because it's so full. It takes a little bit of time to cover everything. So there we go.
Nothing to it.
Easy peasy, just
and
like that.
Beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's kind of fun. We always say, like, you almost wish you could give these out just like brand new. This one still has some work to do. So if you gave this out right after you made it, you'd have to have a pretty long instruction card about, okay, in 2 months, let's do a change out. 2 more months, we're going to do another change out. So you can't, but by itself.
Of course you can. Just give them a book with it.
Well, there you go. But by itself, it's a lot of work. But the other is just to have these around the kitchen during the holidays. It's always fun. We've talked about this in other workshops. These are the things everybody wants to talk to us about when they come over to the house, because we have our extracts just everywhere. And you see one like that, they're very pretty to just put on the shelf.
Yeah, well, they have to be in a cupboard, you know, so.
I know, just when people come out, just to show them off, right?
We do show them off.
I know, weren't we vain? Oh my gosh.
People ask.
People ask, so we always have some extracts out because they always want to know, what are you working on? And so we'll pick 2 or 3 that kind of look fun and that are some of our favorites, and we'll put them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we're
We gotta
done
brag
here.
a little. It's not vain. Hey, if it's true, it ain't bragging, right? So
Yes, it is.
if it's a great tasting extract that you're really proud of, put it out on the shelf when the friends come over.
Yeah.
Talk about it. It's tons of fun.
Well, if they know that's what your hobby is, you know, you might have people asking you what you're working on as well. So
Absolutely.
it's fun. Okay, I went ahead and put my label on grapefruit vanilla on page 114. And then on the bottom, I always put the date that I started on, just in case, you know, I need to go back and I forget that I didn't put it on my spreadsheet. It's always on the bottom of the jar.
Yep.
Okay.
And normally we'd put a lid on it. I think that was my thing and I forgot it, but I'm going to put this up front,
Yeah,
even though it
it's
doesn't have the
pretty.
lid, just because, like, for all the reasons I just said, for my vein extract making reasons, I'm going to just set it. Is that okay? Is that in your
Yes,
way?
that's fine.
That's
You can
okay.
also put a fermentation weight on this if you want. Sometimes some of the grapefruit will float to the top. If you don't have one, just check on it ever so often, push it down, and go in and, you know, ever so often.
Use the muddler, push it if you need to push it.
But for the most part, once the alcohol absorbs into the grapefruit, it settles pretty nicely.
Exactly. So we're going to leave this one now for 2 months. So in our February workshop is when we'll do the update on this one, where we'll pull out all the fresh and then we'll put in the peels for another new one, and we'll have a whole change out coming up in 2 months. So join us in February. We'll post the event in Facebook and on Eventbrite so you can see the dates, and we'll let you know when that's going to happen. I don't think we have that date nailed down yet. I think we have the January one nailed down.
Do we?
I think so. I think it's the 21st. Did could correct me, but I'll post it in the Facebook group and on Eventbrite so everyone can see it. So that's it. Step 1. Now that's a 6-month extract, right? That's why we used, that was the half ounce of bean. No, that's the full ounce. The next one's the half ounce of bean. So 6 months extract, grapefruit forward. The vanilla is more of a binder in this one, which is why it's not going the full 12 months, right?
Yes.
Love it.
But it can go the full 12 months if you want more of a vanilla flavor. It will continue to extract. Don't take those beans.
Yeah, leave them in as long as you want. Everything can be more vanilla forward with time, right?
Yes.
Love it.